When I look back at high school, I don't see a confident kid. I don't see someone who stood tall. I see a skinny, awkward teenager, a boy who wanted nothing more than to blend into the background. I wasn't the loud one, or the funny one, or the popular one. I was just quiet, invisible, the kind of kid who hugged the walls in the hallway, who sat in the back of class, who prayed that the teacher's eyes never landed on him. But even though I was quiet, I carried this little flame inside me, a love for history. History was my escape, the stories of empires rising and falling, of people fighting against impossible odds. They gave me hope. In history, even the weak could become strong. Even the forgotten could matter. But in the real world, in that classroom, with its creaky desks and faded posters, history didn't feel like hope, because standing in front of us was a teacher who believed his words were law. He didn't hit us, he didn't punish us physically. But his words could cut deeper than a knife. He could shatter you in seconds. One sentence from him could make you feel like you were worth nothing at all. So I stayed small, I stayed silent, I let the flame inside me burn quietly, where no one could see, until one day, something inside me changed. We were talking about a turning point in history, and my heart started racing because I knew the answer. I'd read about it. I'd stayed up nights thinking about it. And for the first time ever, I thought maybe I could share this, maybe I could belong here. So I did it. I raised my hand, and in that tiny moment I felt brave. My hand was trembling, my voice shook, but I spoke. I put myself out there, hoping, praying for just a little recognition. Maybe a smile, maybe a challenge, maybe just a simple good thought. But instead, I got destroyed. He turned to me with a sneer. His eyes narrowed like he couldn't believe I had dared to speak. Then he laughed, not the kind of laugh that invites you in, but the kind that rips you apart. Really, now? If this is the best your brain can do, it's no wonder history is full of disasters. Spare us your childish nonsense. And just like that, the room exploded. Laughter, pointing fingers, smirks from people I thought were my friends, giggles that pierced through me like shards of glass. I froze, my face burned red, my chest tightened, my hands shook under the desk. And then he kept going. He mocked my words. He mimicked my voice, pitching it high and shaky to make the class laugh harder. He turned my small, brave act into a public circus. And in that moment, the flame inside me died. When the bell finally rang, I ran. I didn't stop until I locked myself in a bathroom stall. And there, I broke. Tears streamed down my face, hot and endless. Sobs ripped out of me until my chest ached. I pressed my fists into my eyes, begging the pain to stop. Why me? What did I do wrong? Why did he have to tear me apart like that? But the answers never came. Only the sorrow did. Heavy, suffocating, crushing every part of me that dared to believe I was worth something. That day didn't just hurt, it changed me. After that, I stopped raising my hand, I stopped trying. I became a ghost in class, silent, unseen, broken. At home, my parents would ask, "How was your day?" And I'd just shrug. Fine, but inside I was screaming. Inside I was replaying the moment over and over and over again. The laughter, the humiliation, the sting of betrayal when even my friends joined in. Nights became torture. I'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling, reliving it, wishing I could disappear. The sound of that laughter haunted me like a cruel soundtrack I couldn't turn off. And slowly, I pulled away from everyone, from friends, from family, from myself. The boy who once dreamed vanished. Years later, therapy helped untangle some of that pain. but the scars never left. That teacher didn't just embarrass me for a day, he stole years of my life. Years of courage, years of opportunities I was too afraid to take. But time has a way of turning pain into fuel. Piece by piece, I started building myself back up. I fought through the fear, pushed past the shame, and somehow I made it. I earned a degree. I became a software engineer, and I built something I was proud of. A revolutionary AI platform for education. A system designed not to punish kids, but to lift them up, to catch them when they struggle, to guide them without shame. And then life came full circle. At a huge company offsite filled with tech leaders, investors, and educators, I was chosen to present our platform. This could define your career, my boss told me. The weight of those words nearly crushed me. What if I failed? What if I froze? What if I became that broken kid all over again? But I pushed through, I practiced, I prepared, and when I stepped on that stage, I delivered. The demo was flawless, my voice was steady. The audience clapped and nodded. For the first time in my life, I felt powerful. And then it happened. The Q&A. A voice cut through the room, sharp, cold, familiar. Impressive, it drawled, but what about sheer ignorance, the kind that embarrasses everyone? My blood ran cold. My stomach dropped, because I knew that voice. It was him, my old teacher. Older, softer, greyer, but still the same cruel eyes, the same smirk, the same poison in his words. And in an instant, I was back there, back in that classroom, back in that humiliation, back in that bathroom stall, with my face buried in my hands. But then I remembered something. I wasn't that boy anymore. I had survived him. I had built something he could never destroy. So I took a deep breath and I said, "Your question takes me back to a teacher who once crushed a student's spirit with words like those. I was that student. You broke me. You humiliated me. You left me in tears, doubting myself for years. The sorrow was unbearable. The disappointment in someone meant to guide me. It haunted me. But from that darkness, I built this. A system that lifts kids up instead of tearing them down. A system that makes sure no student will ever feel the way I once did." The room went silent. And then applause, loud, thunderous. People were crying, nodding, moved, and him, he shrank into his seat, silent, ashamed. Later, people congratulated me. Investors handed me cards. My boss smiled with pride, but when I was finally alone in my hotel room staring at the city lights, I cried again, not because I was broken this time, but because I was free. Free from the boy I used to be. Free from the chains of his words. Free to take my sorrow and turn it into something that could heal others. This story isn't just mine, it belongs to every person who's ever had their light dimmed by someone's cruelty. If that's you, know this. Your pain is real, but your resilience is stronger. So share your story below. Let's turn our sorrow into a chorus of healing. But here's what I've learned. The same fire that nearly burns us down can forge us into something unbreakable. I am no longer the boy who stayed silent. I am the man who turned pain into purpose. And if my story touched something in you, if you've ever felt small, broken, or silenced, I want you to know you are not alone. That's why I share these stories. That's why I keep writing. To remind us all that even in our darkest moments, we still carry the power to rise. If this resonated with you, please subscribe. Your support helps me reach more people who need this reminder. Together we can turn pain into purpose and build a community where no voice is ever silenced again.